All right, here we are taking a look at our character map. One of the first things that I'm going to do with this so I can read it more effectively is to zoom in. If you want to use the little zoom thing, you can. I will probably go over and select 100%. So this has a blank face. If we were doing this in class, you would get to draw. Now, if you would like to use some other sketching materials after you have done, after you have completed the rest, once again, after you have done everything else and you want to work on the facial appearance, you may. So you will notice there's a spot for your name um, and about a character. These I use little dotted line text boxes so you can tell that you can write on the lines or close to what is on the line. So an appearance. So this could be some physical attributes such as brown hair and blue eyes, 5'11". That's describing me, brown hair, blue eyes, and 5'11". It could also be a little bit different. They could be, they could have a very nerdy appearance, also like me, or they could be um, muscular or feminine. If you have a female character, she could be very girly or tomboy. Um, so the appearance doesn't have to just be about hair color, eye color. It could be the way they dress. Dresses like an athlete or dresses like a ballerina. Who the character reminds you of and why. Most good writers will have a character that they develop, but they usually will start off with someone that it kind of reminds you of. And um, character reminds me of my younger brother. Notice in this, I am not using complete sentences because of the space needed here. That's completely fine. He reminds me of my younger brother. Um, why does he remind me of my younger brother? He is taller and more handsome than me. He is very athletic. And as you can see, the more I type, the spacing doesn't work out. If you are, I'm not a huge thing, I can figure out how to do the spacing, but if you would like to change the spacing, you can mess around like maybe 1.5. Oh, look at that. 1.5 spacing puts almost everything on the line. If that level of detail is important to you, then feel free to do that. So that is character. Likes, things that your character likes, could be things like burritos and milkshakes, maybe not at the same time. Again, if you need to adjust this to make it fit how you want to see it, that's great. The other things that a character could like might not just be foods. It could be honesty in others. He likes a sense of humor. Um, so the likes again. I'm going to see if 1.5 will work. If the likes doesn't have to be necessarily something physical and tangible, though it could be like burritos and milkshakes, like in and out, honesty in others. So that could be the things that they like as far as qualities in other people, like long walks on the beach, something like that. Dislikes, and again, tuna sandwiches and pickles. Dislikes, mean people. So it can be, again, physical things. Oops, I didn't do that very nicely. Boop. Select that, 1.5. And it could also be character traits in others. Moving right along, what the character thinks. So this, you can get pretty creative with what the character thinks as far as the character thinks he or she has always doubted herself. She thinks that. Maybe this particular character wishes that she had more friends. So that is one way. And maybe the character thinks completely differently. Maybe she thinks she is better than others. Maybe that's your character. Maybe she thinks that she's better or fancier or can be better than others or not. How the character is like you. Generally, when writers are creating characters, not only will the characters have something that reminds them of somebody else, but how the character is like you. So maybe this character, and if you have to change the text box a little bit so it doesn't write on the thing's ear, likes musical theater. So that maybe that's what your character likes, because that's one of the things that I like. One of the characters like you is I pretty much, except when I'm making these videos, will always have music going in the background. So if you are to stroll by my classroom when students are not there, you would probably hear music, and it would probably have something to do with Disney or musical theater. So that's a way a character is like me. Another way a character could be like me is that you love the outdoors. I can spell that right. Outdoors. Find something that the character might have that you also share. When you do that, it allows you to be more genuine when you are writing about the character, because you understand some of the things that character thinks and feels, because there's a piece of you in that character, and most often a piece of somebody else. So describe some behavior. So how does this character behave? Maybe this character is a total rule follower. And maybe that's just me. Maybe your character is a rule breaker. Maybe your character has some behavior things where he or she, so he can't stand arguing with others. Or maybe your character is argumentative. So just some ideas about your character. I'm going to add something. At some point, we need to find out a character's name. So somewhere on here, maybe we'll put the character name up here. Let's do that. So I'm going to see if I'm going to add a text box right there and say character name. And if this doesn't make it onto your copy, I'm sorry about that. I will see how I can fix that maybe. So we have the character name that will go up here. I don't want that text block to have a line. So we will go no line. So character name. What you would change. So not every character is imperfect, much like each person is not perfect. And sometimes we could think about, man, if this character would only do this, he would be or she would be perfect. She does a great job with friends, but doesn't get along with her parents. But if she could just get along with her parents, or what I would change if she or he would stop causing drama with friends. Great character, does all this, but man, if she or he would just stop causing drama with friends, that would be great. So, give you something to think about there, and then the character's fears, because every good character also has a weak point, that Achilles heel, which we'll go about in depth later when we study ancient Greece in social studies this year. But the character's fears, and one could be an unrealistic fear of frogs. Sorry, Morgan. But yeah, you could have a totally unrealistic fear of frogs, or a huge fear of, whoa, what happened typing? A huge fear of the ocean because of a bad experience. That's also true. So EXPERIENCE. As we're typing, I would really recommend using spell check. So if it has the red squiggly line, something's probably up with that. So characters' fears, maybe they're afraid. Could be having a fear of speaking in public. There are quite a few people with that fear, and if this character shares that fear, that would be totally in line with what's going on. So, quick review. The different aspects of our character will be the appearance, could be height and eye color, but it could also be maybe they dress like a hobo or something like that. Or maybe they dress as a clown half the time. Who knows? Next, who the character of reminds you of. It helps us write things like that. The likes could be specific things or just general characteristics. Dislikes in the same manner. What the character thinks. So what he thinks or she thinks about himself or thinks about others. How the character is like you. It helps you stay genuine and authentic to your character. Some behavior. What does the character behave like? How does the character react? Maybe the character overreacts when somebody shares something like, oh my gosh, oh no. Or maybe they're super calm, like, yeah, man, that was pretty epic. Maybe what would you change? Like, wow, I wish that person wouldn't overreact all the time because it's hard on my ears. And finally, the character's fears. Some things that might make sense or might not make sense, like somebody being afraid of frogs. That's weird. Anyway, so some fears. All these things will help you create an awesome main character that I'm looking forward to reading about in the very near future.